For this project, we're tackling an embroidered self-portrait made in the style of an artist named Victoria Viasana. Last time we practiced our sewing skills using our pattern on our small practice paper. If you feel ready, you can begin on your final paper today. It took me a long time to embroider just these 3 parts of my pattern. Imagine how long it would take me to embroider this whole thing. We used colored pencils so that you don't have to embroider everything. You can get as much embroidering done as you can with the time we have left. If you love what you're doing and you have enough time and you can do the entire background, great. But if you only have time to do a couple parts of your background here and there, that's okay too. Before we start sewing, the first thing we need to do is poke the holes that we're going to use to sew with. Put your final project on top of your piece of cardboard so that you don't poke holes in your kitchen table. Find your thumbtack in your yellow envelope and use it to poke holes on one piece of your pattern. Remember to poke a hole at the beginning and the end of each line. Use the needle threader to thread your needle. If you don't remember how to do this, go back to the directions in part 3. Then tie your thread to your needle and don't forget to tie a knot in the end. When we sew, we poke up through the green side, tug our thread until we feel the knot stop us from pulling any further, and then down through the front. When you finish sewing part of that pattern, tape your thread down, cut off the extra, and decide if there's enough to save. If so, put it in your yellow envelope. I need to switch colors for the next part of my pattern. Can you remember what the steps are before I do them? If so, that means you really know what you're doing. As you might remember from my practice, with my pattern, I can use the holes that I poked for my purple lines to make my gold circles. Do you remember my trick of finding a hole that is hidden by other threads? I can poke the tip of my needle in from the front and see where it's wiggling on the back. Then I know where the hole is. In this example, I just sewed one part of my pattern, but you might have 3 or 4 or 5 different parts that you can finish in the same amount of time. When I'm done sewing for the day, I need to make sure my extra threads, my thumbtack, my needle, and my needle threader are all in my yellow envelope, and that all of my supplies are in my art kit bag.